Welcome back to our egg incubating series where we try to turn this into this.
So what are you doing today?
We are candling the eggs to decide which ones we're going to put in the incubator.
Well, what is candling?
Candling is shining a light through the egg. The shell is translucent, which means it lets the light shine through the egg, and then you're able to see what's going on inside the egg. So we're going to check it out and just make sure that the eggs are viable to go in the incubator before we put them in there.
Well, can you give us a demonstration?
I sure can. We're going to turn the lights off and we'll get right back with you. So here's one of our bantam eggs that we're looking at. This one looks pretty good. I don't see any cracks or flaws on it. What we'll do is we'll mark it with a pencil with an X, and that'll help us know when we turn the egg to make sure that we've turned them all. And we'll talk about turning later. This egg has some spots where the light is shining through a little more, and that means that the eggshell is a little bit porous. That can mean that the egg might not be as viable, but we're going to go ahead and give it a try. But I've marked this one with a P so we can remember that for our experiment and see how the porous eggs do. The other thing I want to point out on this one is that this one was laid a little bit longer ago. It's a little bit older. So the air pocket in it is a little bit more noticeable. So there's an air pocket here on the end of the egg. Can you see that?
I'm trying.
So what we're going to do is we're going to take our pencil and mark out where that air pocket is. And the air pocket should grow over time as the egg incubates. So we'll check back on that. This is an example of an egg that we will not be putting in the incubator. You can see a lot more of the brighter spots, so that means it's a lot more porous. And then if you look closely on the pointier end of the egg right here, there's some cracks. So that's not as viable. So we don't want to put that egg in the incubator. If the egg goes bad while it's in the incubator, it could put bacteria out into the environment and ruin some of the better eggs. To candle our eggs today, I chose a flashlight that is small and has a dip down in before it gets to the lens, and that allowed the eggs to sit on there and seal the light against the eggshell. So that makes it easier to see to the inside of the egg that way. We also chose to do it in our bathroom because it's a room without windows that I can get really dark and be able to see into the eggs very well. So I needed my flashlight and a pencil to mark my eggs. Out of the 3 dozen bantam eggs that we had, we only have 2 that we are not going to be able to put into the incubator. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to fit all of these into our fish tank experiment. As they go into the incubator, we're going to number them so that we can keep track. So like this one's number 2, or number 1 and number 2, and we'll keep track of the eggs over the next 3 weeks. Okay, we ended up getting 26 eggs set in the incubator. I don't want to set them too close to the heat bulb. I don't want to overheat them. We're watching our gauges, and this is why I wanted to have 4 different gauges, because we currently have 4 different temperature readings in here, but if we find the average, our temperature is looking pretty good. Our humidity is also looking pretty good, in spite of just having the incubator open. What we'll do is we'll keep turning the eggs several times a day, and we'll be able to tell if they're turned because I'll be able to see whether the number is up or the letter. Remember, on the other side, they either had an X or a P. So we'll watch for that and make sure we get them all turned regularly and keep monitoring our temperature and our humidity. And then we'll candle these again in a few days to see if any of them are starting to develop into a chick. Thanks for coming along with us with our incubator experiment. Keep checking back and see what happens.